Hello, good morning. Thanks, Sandro, for the introduction and for the invitation. So today I would like to speak about two fields of innovations which are positioning and connectivity for mobility. But before to start with the innovation we bring as a semiconductor company, I would like to bring a number, 9.8 billion. Global population might increase to 9.8 billion by 2050, according to the United Nations report. Today, we count 7.5 billion people on the planet, which is 55% of this population living in urban cities. This proportion will evolve to 68% by 2050. So the effect of urbanization could add 2.5 billion of people to urban cities, which a share of 90% of expansion that could happen in China and Africa. For Europe, we are in a different situation. So we will have a population decreasing, but we will have an individual mobility which will be accessible to a higher share of the population. Today, we estimate 60% of the share going up to 90% by 2050. This will enable mobility to disabled people, to teenagers, but also to senior citizens. So how you see, these demographic trends are bringing a lot of challenges for the mobility. How can we keep our road safer and accident-free? How to resolve the issue of mobility with traffic congestions? How to eliminate our carbon footprint? These are major challenges for our society. So if we speak about safety, we have every single year more than 1.2 million people dying on the streets. 80 to 95% of these traffic fatalities are caused by human errors. So safety is a massive issue for our society. On mobility, when we think about this, most of us think about freedom, about joy, fun. Some call it Freude, who may be also in this room today. But in reality, a lot of time we spend in our cars in traffic congestions, waiting at the red light, looking for parking places, and circulating around building blocks to find a place. So mobility is a big issue, and it is very inefficient, because unfortunately, when we sit in a car, we have 5 seats and almost sitting alone. So this is creating congestions and emissions. Looking at European data, road transportation contributes 20% of the total greenhouse gas emissions in total. So it's a huge pollution which is created by road transportation. So we as a semiconductor company, we believe that semiconductor innovation can enable greener and safer mobility. I will start with one pillar of innovation, which is connectivity, and where ST is contributing for several decades, starting with radio broadcast, which was the first mass application capable to communicate traffic announcement, voice messages first, moving to traffic messaging channel. And with introduction of digital radio services like DAB+ in Europe, we have also additional mobility services for fuel information, for traffic, better traffic information, but also weather information. So there is a lot of innovation in semiconductor which can enable and improve mobility. Also, the smartphone integration brings additional apps into the car. But there is a fundamental element, which is a cloud connectivity with a pervasive proliferation of embedded network access device in the car, embedded in the car, which will and is allowing car makers to access to data of the car, of data of the sensors, and to also operate remote diagnosis functions. This will also enable predictive maintenance functions and, very important, over-the-air software update, which allow to always improve the system while being in the road. In this field of innovation, today in the next slides, I would like to highlight two specific elements. GNSS, which stands for Global Navigation Satellite System, and V2X. V2X stands for Vehicle to Everything. It means vehicle to infrastructure, vehicle to vehicle, and vehicle to pedestrian or bicycle to anything. So these are two fields where we as a semiconductor company will bring further innovation. Let's start with GNSS. On GNSS, ST is an actor in the automotive domain for more than 20 years. So we are supporting the market with this capability to determine coordinates. This has been evolving to multi-constellation capability to improve the performance and the accuracy of the fix. And we have been the first on the market to bring multi-constellation receivers capable to receive simultaneously GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, Beidou satellites. This positioning function is somehow underestimated. Look at all what has been enabled. It means navigation, mass deployment of navigation function to the drivers, how to come from A to B. Telematic services, like for instance, concierge service or emergency call rescue service, like eCall in Europe, but also for the truck transportation with eco-driving and e-horizon functions to reduce the fuel consumption, and tachographies, road tolling, insurance boxes. So there is a large function set which is enabled by positioning. Now, this is today, all these receivers offer an accuracy of about 1.5 meter. We want to continue in innovation. So today's receivers are based on single frequency satellite signal reception, and we are deploying to the market right now dual frequency GNSS receivers, which are capable to improve the accuracy together with the combination of correction service down to few decimeters. So this opens a new chapter of innovation for safety driving and ADAS functions. In the domain of ADAS, we have multiple sensors. We have seen impressive figures before. So it's about high definition cameras, long and short range radars, LiDARs, gyroscope accelerometers. ST is a silicon provider for all these solutions. And we are looking forward to improve the accuracy of these sensing functions, but also to bring these devices, these sensors at a more affordable cost level. The performance is always increasing. And if you see and look here at the penetration rate, we will expect by 2022 to have almost the half of the vehicle produced in the industry embedding an ADAS functions. So sensors listed here are diverse, they are advanced and pervasive, but they are all providing only relative positioning. So with precise positioning, GNSS precise positioning, we want to bring to the market an absolute position which will be an additional layer in the sensor fusion. So you see here the different sensors. This is the only one to be capable to deliver an absolute GNSS coordinate. But high accuracy, down to a few decimeters, is not enough. When we address and we need to tackle the challenges of safety critical application, there are much higher requirements. Requirements in terms of safety level, which means protection against the own system failures, detection of all system failures in terms of hardware, silicon, software. It requires higher security requirements, which is a protection against cyber attacks from anti-spoof or from spoofing and jamming scenarios, and also high integrity, which means higher protection against environmental signal degradation, like multipass signal degradation or interferences. So, speaking about precise positioning for safety critical application implies the notion of integrity. The GNSS receiver must be capable to guarantee a certain accuracy in a specific area with a level of probability which is very high. This is integrity, and this is where we, together with software correction service companies, we provide such a solution. So you see here that the system provides protection levels on the horizontal and vertical axis to guarantee, paired with a confidence level, that the position is correct and safe. So here on the left side, you see that the system cannot guarantee this accuracy, and the GNSS receiver will inform and communicate that that position is a bad solution and is not safe. So it will go to a safe state. You see, precise positioning is a field of a lot of innovation, and we, by bringing ASIL precise positioning receivers with or based on ISO 26262 concept, safety concept, we can support this kind of new sensors for the ADAS market. We'd like to go back to connectivity, and more specifically V2X, vehicle to everything connectivity. So we all love surprises, but not on the road. That means there are many scenarios which are very difficult for drivers to detect or to react on, and even sometimes for ADAS sensors to address. So with V2X, we can address these kind of challenges. For instance, rain and fog conditions, or isolated ice patches on the road, which are very difficult to detect, or risk of aquaplaning, or just being blindfolded by sun conditions. And simply, how can we see with sensor or feel what we don't know is in front of us or around the corner? So with V2X communication, we enable vehicle to communicate. It means to listen and talk to other vehicles and with the environment, with infrastructure. So you could have smart intersections which will be equipped with V2X function, and will detect crossing pedestrian and alert drivers in advance, just to avoid the accident to happen. Our partner Autotalks is delivering such solutions, and we are convinced that smart cities with connected V2X equipped cars can really enable mobility and save a lot of life. It's important to mention that V2X is not a replacement of the other sensors. It adds an additional layer, an additional sense, the sense of communication between cars. And V2X is also a way of cooperative sensing. So it helps a car to transport and communicate any type of sensor information to another car, which in a chain will inform the other car. So V2X enables vehicles to see through other vehicles or to see through obstacles. Now, what happens if we combine precise positioning on one side and V2X connectivity for the sake of safety? This is here the typical block diagram of a centralized system architecture for an automated vehicle. So we see on the left the sensors with different distance range. These are fused, and looking in this algorithm here to have object identification and the creation of the 3D environmental model. And after object detection and motion prediction, the system will take decision and drive the actuators of the car. So depending on the autonomous level of the vehicle, the driver may or must intervene in case of specific conditions. So by adding GNSS precise positioning, we enable on the sensor side to have a redundancy layer which complements with the others. As you have seen, with absolute positioning, which offers a higher integrity and higher protection level, we can augment the reliability of the 3D environmental model. And last but not least, thanks to V2X communication, a vehicle will get from the other vehicle around their position, their precise position. So these vehicles will also not communicate just the position, but also the speed, the velocity, but also their trajectory. So this kind of additional information for the algorithm here is enhancing the prediction of the motion behavior of the vehicles traveling around. So you see here that V2X and precise positioning can also support cooperative driving, which means in the near future, manned vehicles and automated vehicles will be able to coordinate their maneuvers in order to have higher safety on the roads. So we have been through the journey of mobility driven by connectivity and positioning, where innovation is happening for years and is continued to happen. It started with GPS, enabling the mass deployment of road navigation, which was enhanced thanks to cellular connectivity to connect the navigation with traffic information, but also having telematic services with real-time information and with more and more precise information in terms of positioning and motion sensor combination, which is called data reckoning. As we see, the next step for ADAS is now to tackle the challenges of active safety and safety driving. So the combination of connectivity and the let's say availability of correction services, which can come either from the 4G, 5G network, but also from the satellite systems, is enabling, together with a safe and precise position function, a secure operation of ADAS functions. And the last milestone is V2X connectivity. As mentioned, by combining the V2X, and here it's important, it's not more about connectivity, it's about the sense of communication between vehicles. So in the future, this combination with a precise and secure position information is enabling cooperative driving, which will be a big challenge for the, let's say, mobility, to have over decades cars on the roads, some will be manned, some will be automated. So the capability to have communication across this kind of vehicles will enable cooperative driving and facilitate the coordination of the maneuvers and the prediction of their motion on the roads. So I would like to thank you for your attention, and at a glance here some key figures about our company, looking forward to further innovations in connectivity and positioning. Thank you.